we move on to react to the USMNT falling to Canada 2-1. Um, yeah, it should have been or could have been 4 or 5. Really a disgusting game for the USMNT. And the only reason why this was not extreme, or it was embarrassing, but the only reason why it wasn't extremely embarrassing and very disgusting, and it was all these things still, but the only reason why I'm not going overly crazy on this performance is, well, first of all, it is a friendly, and to be honest, this mattered a whole lot more to Canada than the US. It was clear from what we saw on the field. It was clear from what we see on the way Jesse Marsh has talked about, some of the comments he has made, and it's clear. And it's also, US has an interim manager, and there's a hiring that's been looming for a very, very long time now, but you know there's been looming for a very, very long time now, and I don't know why it's taken so long, but it's still clear that that hire is gonna happen with Pochettino coming in, and we'll get to that later. But as far as this game, so the U.S. were able to control the ball, have 58% possession, but I'm talking about some of the most useless possession you can ever, you can, you'll ever see watching a football game. The possession were in areas not dangerous on the pitch, no real liveliness. In terms of, they had possession of the ball, but no control of the game. Had so many mistakes that led to immediate Canadian opportunities. A lot of mistakes playing out of the back. A lot of mistakes in midfield. Johnny Cardoso making one that led to a goal. Tim Ream giving away a ball playing out of the back as well. In general, that back line couldn't really play out. And a really disgusting performance from the USMNT. The stadium, also empty seats, which is not surprising because the US stadiums are, barely half capacity in a major international tournament this summer, a home international tournament, the Copa America. So playing a friendly, I'm not surprised at all that it was that empty. Not surprised at all. That's also disgusting too. And that's something that needs to change also. I don't know what it is exactly. I don't think it's the fact that there's not enough U.S. men's national team fans. Don't think that it is, and don't think that excuse could be used for U.S. soccer. Ticket pricing out the pricing out the fan that's probably it. I don't have much knowledge on why it's so bad in terms of, these stadiums being practically empty, but that's something that the US Soccer Federation needs to address, cuz again, that was disgusting. But the US men's national team, this is the first home loss that they've suffered to Canada in 67 years. I believe in the Nations League, and so we lost to them in the World Cup qualifiers when we went up to Canada. We also lost to them to Canada in the first edition of the Nations League. I believe this goes back to this goes back way back, like 20. I think this was a little bit before COVID, 2019, 2020, somewhere in that era. I think it was slightly before COVID. It was early Greg Berhalter. It was really our first look at this USMNT since that World Cup debacle in 2018, not being able to qualify, and but those games did not come at home. This is the first loss that the U.S. men's national team has suffered at home to Canada in 67 years. Um, and yeah, yeah, it was horrible. As I said, a lot of mistakes playing out of the back. And that's been, we saw that from the U.S., in the friendlies leading up to Copa America. It didn't really rear its ugly head at a Copa America, primarily because we were playing against weaker oppositions in the first two games. And then the game against Uruguay, you know, we didn't, we didn't really play out of the back or so. We kind of had a balanced approach to it. Um, but yeah, the Canada, they, they get, can't speak right now. That's how disgusted I was with that game. I can't even speak. Canada were able to take the lead through Jacob Schaffelberg, who, doesn't have much quality in there, but he ran up and down, up and down, up and down, and he gave it all. I'll have to say also, the Canadian players outworked the American players. The American players didn't play with any sort of intensity, didn't play with any desperation. I think with Jesse Marsh and his desperation to sort of beat the U.S., sort of reflected on his players' attitude and dedication that they had, because they came into this game working really, really hard. Ali Ahmed, he got up and down that right hand side as well. Schaffelberg as well. Um, you know, Kyle Larin did a lot of good work too. That defensively, Cornelius and Bombito, who actually made a big move, Moise Bombito to Nice. I thought they played pretty good as a partnership. And this Canada team is showing some signs going forward. Now, I don't think this Canada team is really there yet at the level of the Canadian team leading up to the 2022 World Cup, because that was a really, really good team, Canada, in that World Cup qualifying campaign that they had in the lead up to the 2022 World Cup. They played really, really well. They won the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying in terms of it wasn't the hexagonal, it was the octagonal. It got expanded, but they finished first. They played really, really well. They played really good in transition, and they had good moments where they could also control games and really, get people forward. Don't think they're quite at that level of that team quite yet, but they're building something. Compared to where they were about a year ago now, with the whole federation in major, major turmoil, with basically essentially being bankrupt, to now being able to bring in Jesse Marsh through help of the MLS teams in Canada, the Whitecaps and the Toronto FC, and now being able to build some sort of identity, have the run that they had at Copa America, and now go on to move forward and to have this game sort of build something special leading up to 2026 World Cup. Well, they'll be one of the hosts. I think they're building something really, really good, and it was a quick turnaround for the Canadian Soccer Federation that they had. Can the U.S. Men's Federation have the same with this team? Because there's going to be a quick turnaround needed leading up to this 2026 World Cup to have progression. Now, they haven't been able to get it done yet technically by getting it pen to paper but from what everyone reports, from all the sources within the organization, Mauricio Pochettino will come in and be the manager for the U.S. Men's National Team. So, can the U.S. Men's National Team now sort of create this sort of, or Pochettino mostly, can he sort of create an identity within this team and turn it around? Now, we see at Chelsea that he, playing out of the back is, yes, important, but not everything to Mauricio Pochettino. Can he find some sort of a hybrid system to work with these set of players? That remains to be seen. And can the U.S. get it done? Can the U.S. get it done? Who knows? I hope so, because this is very, very important. Can they get a pen to paper? Can he come in? So for this next October window, he will be the manager. It remains to be seen.